The morning of August 30th, 2007, promised to be perfect. The sun had just risen above the horizon, painting the waters of the Pacific Ocean in shades of gold and pink. Todd Endris, a 24-year-old surfer with fiery eyes and salt-streaked hair, stood on the shore of Marina State Beach in California. His board tucked under his arm gleamed with morning dew, and the waves beckoned, whispering, "Today is your day." He had no idea that within an hour, his life would hang by a thread and that salvation would come from the depths. Todd leapt onto his board and paddled toward the horizon, where the waves rose like the breath of a living beast. The water was cool, but his heart beat to the rhythm of freedom. He caught the first wave, then the second, adrenaline surging through his veins. Everything was going as usual until a dull thud jolted him. At first, he didn't understand what had happened. His board lurched, and his feet suddenly lost their grip. Todd turned and froze. A dark shadow emerged from the water, just a meter away. A shark, the great white, nearly 5 meters long, with black eyes as empty as the abyss. Its jaws snapped, and in the next instant, razor-sharp teeth sank into his left leg. Pain seared through him like a red-hot blade, and the water around him turned crimson. "No!" he shouted, but his voice drowned in the roar of the waves. The shark yanked him downward, and Todd swung his fist at its nose, the only thing he could think to do. It let go, but only for a moment. The second strike came at his back, teeth tore through his skin down to his ribs, exposing bone. Blood gushed, mixing with the salt water, and the world began to blur before his eyes. He knew this was the end. But then, something inexplicable happened. The water around him churned, and shadows rose from the depths, not one, but dozens. Dolphins. Their sleek bodies glinted in the sunlight, and their piercing cries cut through the air. Todd, gasping in agony, watched as they surrounded him in a tight ring, at least a dozen, maybe more. They weren't just swimming nearby. The dolphins slapped their tails against the water, flapped their fins, creating a chaos of splashes and sounds. The shark lunged at him again, but one dolphin darted forward, ramming its nose into the predator's side. The beast recoiled, stunned. Todd clung to his board, his strength fading. Blood flowed like a river, and the shore seemed impossibly far. But the dolphins didn't relent. They held their formation, like soldiers guarding their own. Their movements were coordinated, almost intelligent. They kept the shark at bay, giving him a chance, and he realized this was his only hope. Gathering the last of his will, Todd lay flat on his board and began paddling toward shore, the dolphin swimming alongside, refusing to let the shark near. When his hand finally touched sand, he could barely breathe. Friends who had spotted the trouble from the beach rushed over, pulled him from the water, and called for help. A medevac helicopter whisked Todd to the hospital, where doctors fought to save his life. They later told him, "You should have died out there in the water. It's a miracle you're here." But Todd knew it wasn't just a miracle, it was the dolphins. Lying in his hospital bed, his back and legs swathed in bandages, he gazed out the window at the distant ocean. Somewhere out there, in the depths, his rescuers glided through the waves, asking for neither glory nor thanks. He would never know why they came. But he would tell this story again and again about the day the dolphins stood between him and death, granting him a second chance.